Okay, have you ever sat down with your spouse and said, okay, this needs to change, or you hurt me this way, or this isn't working for our marriage? And then you have this incredible conversation and you're like, okay, we're on the same page. And your husband or your wife is like, yep, I gotcha. We're good. We're going to make the changes. And then days go by, no change. And then weeks go by, and then no change. And you're like, I feel crazy because we talked about it. We agreed that something needed to change, or we agreed that we wouldn't do this anymore. Yet here we are a month, 5 months, 5 years later, and we're still doing the same things. Or my spouse said that they would change, but they never did. Okay, we call this when talking isn't enough. So talking to your spouse feels really good, right? Like if you can have a great conversation and it not get into conflict, you're like, we're winning, right? We're doing something right. Okay, but talking is like step one, okay? You then have to have an action plan to say, how are we gonna break this up? Like, so if you're saying like, oh, we have issues with your family, and and your husband's like, yes, I agree, we go over there too much and we've shared too much with them, and then you talk about it, but then if nobody ever does anything, how frustrating is that? Like, we talked about it, we agreed, and you didn't change and you didn't follow through. This is where couples miss the mark. If you don't have a plan, if you don't put things in the calendar, if you don't set reminders, if you don't have an action plan, all you're going to do is keep having conversations, and you're going to be really frustrated. Really frustrated, okay? So here's the thing. Most couples don't need therapy. They need tools. They need action plans. Tell me what to do. Tell me the step-by-step things of how to express my emotions, of how to change this behavior, of how to give a forced-up apology, okay? Talking is great. It's healthy. I'm not saying don't talk. Of course, I'm a marriage coach. I'm saying communication isn't actually everything, though. Because you could say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, you're so great. But if your actions don't match up with your words, was the communication helpful? No. I could say, I'm going to change. I promise I don't want to hurt you anymore. I'm going to change. Yes. That's communication, right? But if I don't actually change, what was the point of communicating if I'm not going to follow through? So many people want an action plan and next steps, and that's exactly what our Marriage 365 app does. That's what my husband and I do. So you see, you guys, I'm all excited because let me just tell you, I think so many people think that they have to have therapy, and I'm like, what did couples do 60 years ago when there was no therapy? Or what do you do if you can't afford it? See, this is where you don't probably need therapy. You need tools. I'm telling you right now, I can guarantee 95% of you just need to know these tools. You need to have the action plans. You need to have the ideas. We give you thousands in our app. And if you don't do it with us, great, go somewhere else. But find a resource that can actually teach you tools, techniques, habits. We have dozens of worksheets, videos, courses, challenges, date ideas, like you name it, so that you can actually implement them in your life. Change is never going to happen just by talking about it. Is that a great first step? Absolutely. But we even have a video called When Talking Isn't Enough. I highly recommend watching it. I'd watch it today. Now you can download our app for free, and you can actually use our app free for 7 days. 7 days. So I don't want to hear I can't afford it. And our app is nothing compared to therapy. Okay. It's so affordable. We did that on purpose because we know most couples can't afford therapy. I get it. My husband and I can't afford weekly therapy. And here's the thing I want you to be very aware of when it comes to couples therapy. Okay. It's a slow process. Once a week, 1 hour a week. If you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 issues, you're going to be in therapy for years. Okay. So that's one thing to think about. Again, what do you do if you don't have any money? I don't want you to go into debt. It's really, that's a lot of stress now that you're putting financially on your relationship. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your finances, but I would never tell anyone to go into debt. I don't think it's a good idea. If you don't know our debt story, we had over $200,000 of debt, and the amount of stress that my husband and I had was horrible. Okay, now we're debt-free, and we've been debt-free for over a decade, but it's not worth it. What if you don't have a babysitter and you've got kids? You can use our app whenever you want. And we do have online coaching for those of you who want the one-on-one, but I'm just here to tell you that please stop having conversations and leaving the conversation with no action plan. It's a waste of your time. If you don't walk away from the conversation with one SMART goal or one action plan or one reminder in your calendar or one way of how you're going to change this or fix this or work on this, then it was a waste of a conversation. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's the truth. And that was me in my marriage for so many years. I was so frustrated. I remember feeling, tell me in the chat, like if you're like, I've been there, Megan, we'd had those conversations. I remember walking away going, we are finally on the same page. Like my husband gets it. Like this is bugging me and we're gonna make the change. 5, 6, 7 months later, no change. Oof. That is just going to breed resentment and broken trust because it's empty promises. It's everyone saying stuff, but your action's not showing it. And so most people are like, I want to change. I don't want to keep hurting my spouse. You're not a sociopath, right? They don't know how to change. That's why you have to use our app. It's just Marriage 365. Download it in the App Store. Get started today. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a DM.